We'll see in about 12 months where this model ranks in the toughest segment in the Chinese market, which is the 100,000 to 200,000 RMB SUV segment. There's 300 models in that segment. Can this come out on top? Go with the flow, go with the Xpeng L03. I'm currently at the Xpeng studios in Munich, where the Xpeng L03 just had its global launch event yesterday. In my previous videos, I've talked about this is the most important event for Xpeng this year, the biggest product launch in the history of Xpeng. Given the current backdrop of the global auto industry, what's happening in China, this particular model positioning for Xpeng being what He Xiaofeng called Xpeng's first global car. I think that's a very significant to point out. And since I don't normally do car reviews, I probably will not go into the specs as much, but I just wanted to talk about my personal view of some of the features of this car. Mona as a series was launched roughly 2 years ago, summer of 2024, and it launched with a sedan, the M03. The minute the Mona was announced earlier that year, it was only a matter of time that the series would come out with an SUV, and 2 years later, we arrived at that point. And I mentioned the importance of this model because first, it is a global car, and second, the pricing, the starting price was announced in Germany of 35,600 euros. The size of this vehicle better suited for global markets and Chinese market. And with the Mona series, how to tell from other Xpeng models, basically you have the signature. It's kind of like the Volvo cars, Thor, but very Xpeng. You have this kind of T-shaped with the two lines. And if you look at from afar away, it's very identifiable as the Xpeng Mona series. And it comes with the same kind of the seam on the bonnet. And also, what's special about this car is different than other Xpeng models is you see this kind of the elevated side profile. So for those that know the auto industry, the first model that comes to mind to me when I saw this, first of all, you have the Xiaomi U7, kind of like that. And then the model I immediately thought of was the Mercedes EQXX concept. The way that was designed was this high kind of the profile. And then if you look on the side, actually, it's very Mona M03-like, the same signature. I think the rear, with this kind of the flow, the wraparound style lighting, I think gives it also this kind of coupe style. It's called the AI SUV coupe. It gives it a really sporty profile. And almost like in the back in the days when you have the BMW X6, when the first coupe came out. But I think the way this is proportioned, by the way, this is the first baby of Juanma Lopez, his first project. And the other reason why this is so important is because if it is able to match the performance of the Mona M03 sedan, which is the top-selling vehicle in the renminbi 100,000 to 200,000 electric sedan segment in the Chinese market, having sold 280,000 units in less than 2 years that is on the market. So this thing, because it is a compact SUV, it's supposed to sell more than that, but that's kind of a question mark because now, just in 2 years, the market dynamics is totally different than when the Mona M03 was launched. One of the interesting design is this little kind of aerodynamic hole, if you will, that will actually have go down here, gives it a little more aerodynamic profile. But other than that, you see the design language of the Mona L03. It's called the Vital Flow. It's called the AI SUV coupe because of the coupe in the back. In terms of profile, has the potential to be another blockbuster seller, a volume driver for Xpeng, where actually the M03 accounts for like close to 40% of sales. So this thing, the question is, can it do at least as good as the M03? And the numbers that He Xiaofeng just announced 1 hour after the press conference, they got, I think the number was 48,695 firm orders, people that have paid 5,000 RMB in the Chinese market. What stood out to me is because it's a global car, it's going to be available initially in China, in 8 European countries, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Austria, but 65 countries in the world within the year. So you can imagine the price point where it's at, the SUV compact profile, and the 65 countries is launching. If we go further 12 months out, 18 months, potentially the volume should be higher than the L03 because SUVs are popular all over the world, not only in China, right? And I've driven the M03 back in the fall of 2024, and I would just give it a nickname, right? If the M03 is the kind of the half-priced Model 3, then the L03 is the half-priced Model Y. But the pricing in China is actually interesting, pretty much half of the pricing in the European markets. And the starting price in the Chinese market was 123,800 RMB, which is like $18,000, up until $23,000. And the pricing for the Germany market is 35,600 euros, and it goes all the way down below to about 27,000 euros in the equivalent euros in the Norwegian market. So there's a kind of a big price difference depending which European countries. Idle flow and the profile is very striking. I saw this driving. I've experienced the VLA this afternoon before I came here. If you're in the industry long enough, it has a unique profile with the Thor kind of the lights I mentioned, and especially with this kind of the spoiler-like wraparound lighting, gives it a very unique signature styling. The size-wise, styling-wise, I think is very appealing. And we're going to talk about more of the interior. I'm 189 cm or 6'2". If I was a consumer, I would buy this car. If this was available in the US, I'll be the first one to buy in a heartbeat. If it can be priced around the $30,000, $35,000 range, without the geopolitical restrictions, it'll sell crazy. That's how good it is. Let's talk about the interiors a little bit. So I've been fortunate enough, with the exception of X9, I've driven almost every single other Xpeng model, the P7, P7 Plus, G9. I'm going to have a chance to drive the GX, the biggest SUV from Xpeng next week when I am back in China. I drove the Mona M03 2 years ago in the fall, and hopefully soon enough I have a chance to actually drive this. I've just experienced the VLA on the model. Now, just a little bit on the specs. The VLA is only available in the Ultra model, which has 3 Touring chips. 2 of the Touring chips are for smart driving, and one of the Touring chip is for the smart cockpit, which we have here. And this is very typical of the Xpeng interior cockpit profile. This is relatively newer, but the kind of the oval, rectangular oval steering wheel, it's very typical of Xpeng. This side of the center console with the screen, very typical, and really the fit and finish for a 120,000 RMB starting price is, I think, is murder. For this, I mean, He Xiaopeng, he talked about this car is what 300,000 RMB level features, but only priced half that you can buy. Once you have this in VLA mode, which is Xpeng's VLA 2.0, the navigation guided pilot NGP, this will turn on with a turquoise color, showing that it's under NGP mode. Also, there will be this icons on the screen that will show you that it's under the NGP mode. But the interior cockpit design language is what's called the flow cabin. So the vital flow is the overall language. We have the flow cabin. If you sit in the back and look at this overall, it's very simple. You got the kind of the standard charging here. Some of the more storage space here. And what I remember from the launch event at the Show Palace menu is on the outside. One of the biggest things that was shown was the capabilities and the versatility of the interior storage space. And I'm 189 6'2". This seat currently, if you look at the headspace, the side, I'm very comfortable. My knees it's not tight here. Very comfortable. I will sit in the back to show kind of the space for the rear. The fit and finish is, I think, even a step up from the Mona M03 I drove 2 years ago. So there's the 3 screens. There's the HUD. This was mini screen here. That's the 26.8 inch HUD. This is the 8.8 inch, and this is, I think, the 16.8 inch cup holders. Storage space here. For 120,000 starting price, this is unbelievable. Now, I'm not sure if the voice recognition works here, but I'll give it a try. Hey, Xpeng.
Hi there.
I'm too hot.
Temperature is turned down.
I'm too cold.
Temperature is turned up.
China is called the 你好小P, but overseas markets, it's Hey Xpeng. And one of the things I should stress is one of the announcements made yesterday is the integration of Google Maps for international markets to help with the VLA 2.0. Now, the VLA 2.0 actually does not require high definition mapping, but the Google Map is augmenting the NGP with what the international customers are used to in terms of point of interest, navigation, guide you to charging. Very important in overseas markets. It could be either Google Maps or TomTom, but Xpeng is the first automaker from the Asia Pacific region to integrate the Google Map SDK kit. Now let's go back to the rear for a little bit to see the interior. Yeah, so if you look at the rear space, I'm again 189, a 6'2". I just sat in the front seat. That was comfortable for me. Now I'm sitting behind. Let's imagine I'm sitting there and another me was sitting behind. Look at the leg space and the headroom. My head is not touching. It's very comfortable, and the material fit and finish is very comfortable. The headrest is very comfortable for my height. Standard kind of the sunroof that you find in all the different EVs from China. And I could even do this. I think not other many cars at this price range has this kind of the interior. And again, the flow cabin space. And that seat is supposed to have the zero gravity seating, but that's only available in China. In the overseas markets, there's ventilation, heating, massaging available. But other than that, my experience with Xpeng is always the cleanliness of the vehicle inside, very simple, simplicity. It creates an ambient environment that's very pleasing. Positioning of this vehicle is called the next generation AI SUV made for young people, and I can tell why. The way that it's designed, the styling, interior cockpit, the exterior styling, I think it's very appealing to the next generation consumers, especially Chinese consumers, who are looking for this tech-inspired, whether it's autonomous driving, the VLA, the interior space. The human-machine interaction is very important as well with the HUD. And the VLA worth mentioning is what Xpeng is also doing exclusively at this point. Also, the first one doing it is they're currently going through the approval process for DCAS regulations, which is coming into effect at the end of this year, early next year. And once they get approval, they can push the OTA out for the availability of VLA 2.0, specifically for the European market. I think that's important because it's a United Nations regulation that once passed, automakers like Xpeng do not have to deal with their individual country markets. If it's passed, if they get approval, they can just roll this out in, it's a global standard, global regulation, and they can just have the VLA and the NGP available everywhere that law is in effect. So this is only half a year away. And I think that's a very big selling point, to have the FSD-like capabilities available for assisted or level 2++ driving. Again, that's a quick wrap. I just want to stress the importance of this model for Xpeng, for the Chinese auto industry, for the global markets that it's going into. There's a lot of potential. Also some question marks of if it can replicate the success of the Mona M03, which is the sedan sister model. But we'll see in about 12 months where this model ranks in the toughest segment in the Chinese market, which is the 100,000 to 200,000 RMB SUV segment. There's 300 models in that segment. Can this come out on top? We'll see.